Hi and welcome to the second Shemakes Voices interview. Today I'm here with Marte Hentschel. Actually, it's quite challenging to tell what profession she has, as her background is very diverse. But what I can say, she's one of the most important entrepreneurs in textile and clothing industry in Germany. Having started off as a men's tailor, she has made different experiences in fashion and apparel design. And today she's an entrepreneur in several fields. She is CEO at the company Sqetch and works as a lecturer and consultant. Marte, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. Hi, to Zurich.
Hi.
Well,
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure indeed.
Let me introduce myself very quickly. My name is Kerstin Helmerdig from Matrix, a consultancy in STEM and diversity. I'm one of the partners at the Shemakes project, and I'm a science journalist. Well, Marte is an advisor in the Shemakes project, which has received EU funding in order to empower women innovators in the textile and clothing sector. In the next about 25 to 30 minutes, we'll talk about Marte's current work and her professional career. Above all, we will talk about unusual life paths and volunteering in the fashion industry. And well, this is the second one of these live interviews we're holding with important women who we see as molding the contemporary TNC industry. If you, dear audience, have any questions to Marte, feel free to comment and we'll get back to your questions live. So Marte, I would say let's start. First of all, I want to know what is the absolute coolest thing you've ever had the chance to work on?
That's a pretty tough question. If I may choose two, then
you may
go for. So one pretty cool project I had was in the early 2000s when I had the chance with a group of very talented women and men to create the set and costume design for one of the largest German rock bands playing in the Berlin Kulturpalast. So a large former DDR party venue right before it was turned down and replaced by the Berlin Castle. So that was really, really awesome. And now being running a digital business, it's also pretty cool to work with geeks and nerds on things like machine learning and digital interfaces. That's also pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds great. And actually, it sounds typically you. As I learned, you have a background in men's tailoring, and then you studied fashion and apparel design, and now you work in a quite different area. So tell us more about your current work and how did you get there? What was your inspiration to get there?
Yeah, so it sounds a bit weird and like a roller coaster professional path, but for me it feels very natural. So I started with a made-to-measure atelier, and as it always takes 100 hours to create or tailor a man's dress jacket, for example, I thought it would be cool to get a couple of talented and skilled people on board to create more pieces to make more people happy. So I went on and founded a production agency, and that has grown, and we had a fabulous network of a couple of dozen manufacturers around the world that help us to produce like serial quantities of great designs and great styles. And then I thought it would be great to have a digital database of great manufacturers around the world that we wanted to provide an entrance to the global marketplace to find new customers that appreciate their skills and their craftsmanship. So we started a digital platform, and that that has grown ever since. And now we have more than 30,000 companies using our platform, and we have a really skilled IT team in the Netherlands helping us to add more features and create additional management tools on top of this platform.
Sounds great. Is there a special point in your life when you thought, oh, well, I have to become active to change things in the TNC industry?
Yeah, a lot of things. So I'd say I'm very solution driven. So I really can't stand badly executed products. No matter if it's like single, like physical, tangible products or digital products or services. And then I'm looking around for the best solution that really fits my needs, because I feel like if I'm stumbling over these problems, maybe others do as well. So and then in case of this digital platform, there was no such thing. So I thought, let's try to provide that, to fill that gap. And I had a very remarkable experience when I studied fashion design. I had the chance to spend a couple of weeks in Cambodia, and a friend of mine worked at UNESCO, and she invited me to a big factory, to a big garment factory. And then, as a very naive fashion design student, where you have really no clue of where your designs are produced and under which circumstances, I was pretty shocked, because in this factory there were like 40,000 workers. It was like a city, a factory city, and I thought it has a huge influence, because my design decisions directly impact the lives of people and the planet. And I felt this is not told in my education and shared in my education. So designers are trained with no awareness of their responsibility. And that's why I thought I'd better start with trying to set up a like really or as sustainable supply chain as possible myself before I start working as a designer. And I never started working as a designer, really, because the supply chain issue is pretty complex and has brings a lot of challenges, so that you can spend at least a couple of lifetimes on it.
Cambodia brings me to my second question. In our STEM projects, we experienced that young people learn more when they have experiences in volunteering. The projects may be better, and the volunteers themselves, they have a profit. What are your experiences in this field? Do you have any particular experiences for which you have made in volunteering?
Yeah, I try to dedicate at least, I'd say, 20% of my work time that I have available on learning and volunteering. So I wouldn't really differentiate the two, because I think volunteering is always learning as well. And I was very lucky, because I was supported by a couple of great mentors in my professional career. I'd say I wouldn't be this brave to step into new fields that I have barely any experience in. So I was really supported by mentors that were volunteering and supporting me big time. So I try to give a bit of that back. So I'm supporting entrepreneurs with high potential projects with a bit of extra time. And I try to learn as much as I can, because this really pushes me forward, because there are tremendous challenges ahead of us, and there are a lot of solutions already there, but the big pictures and how to combine those solutions so that they seamlessly work together, and how to collaborate in a kind of post-collaborative environment, this can only be achieved with your with the extra mile you go or the extra time you invest.
That brings me to the question of skills. In our project, we learned that especially the Fab Lab scene, here you see in the back a mini Fab Lab, that the scene can provide lots of unusual experiences for young women, especially for young women. They make prototypes in Fab Labs. They get in touch with other creative and innovative people. And I think that there is more than the knowledge from their formal education young women need when they want to work and be kind of good in the TNC industry. And how important do you think are skills, for example, in the technological sector, in engineering? And what about social skills and talents?
Yeah. There's a big misconception that there's a big difference between engineering and technological skills and creative and soft skills. So actually in
Oh, I think we lost her for a sec. Marte, can you hear us?
Very well.
Yeah, there we are.
You.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Sorry.
Now you're off again. Yeah, I think we lost her audio. Actually, dear audience, she is at Zurich Airport, and the Wi-Fi doesn't help to get StreamYard. Marte, can you hear us again? Yeah, I think she can hear us, but I cannot hear her anymore. Yeah, well, Marte, maybe we just make a short break and you can log off and come in again, and then you can start over again. Ah, hello again.
Hey again. I'm very sorry.
No problem. I think it's worth waiting for you.
Yeah.
So let's start again with a technical engineering versus design question.
Yeah. And it's really Murphy's law that when we start talking about tech, then the internet, the Wi-Fi connection breaks. So actually, what I wanted to say is that there's a misconception that there is a big difference, or that the field of engineering and technology is very different from design, aesthetics, and soft skills. So actually, you can really see if only engineers build technical solutions, they're not very appealing. They're not very usable. They're not very emotionally linking. So you always need designers talking to engineers and vice versa. And therefore you need hybrid competency profiles. So you need to bring engineering, coding, and development into design and management and leadership education. And you have to train engineers to think like a designer, like a creator, because this is this gets you to really sticky and really convincing and appealing great services, because we don't want to use technology. We want to connect to people. This is what makes us. This is what we feel is rewarding. We want to grow and learn. We want to establish networks, and we want to exchange. And so technology only provides tools. It's not the solution. It's maybe an assistance. So that's why I think we have to support educators in academia to educate people towards more hybrid competency profiles.
In the TNC industry, you often have women in the design sector and men in the IT and development and producing sector. Do you think we have to encourage women to work in your sector and maybe to aim for leadership?
Definitely. I mean, diversity is always beneficial. There are many studies and reports. It's shown that diverse teams are more successful. They're more productive. They're more supportive. There's less fluctuation in the teams if you have diverse teams. That's proven.
Yeah.
So if there's, I mean, it's a fact. So if there are jobs and teams and roles that lack diversity, there should be a natural interest in politics and education, but also in the management of organizations to change that. And if there's a gap, or if certain gender or mix is lacking, then you have to encourage others to step in to make your teams more successful. And usually in the TNC sector, it's very stereotypic. So when the more down you go in the supply chain, the more down you go in the competency levels and payment levels, the more women work in those fields. And it's also when I am teaching, I'm a lecturer in a design academy. So there are kids flying around me, sorry, that's live. So usually 9 of 10 of my students are women in design. And when it comes to tech conferences, I find myself often being the only woman in tech. So it's still, even though we feel like this is changing, the reality is still pretty stereotypic.
And do you have any idea how to encourage women? I mean, our project Shemakes wants to do this. Do you have the solution? Maybe you're solution driven, aren't you?
Yeah, but I don't have the final solution. I have a couple of ideas, maybe how to. So we have to change the narrative that engineering, development, and or also entrepreneurship, when you're in the tech sector, is you need to be good in math and physics and ICT field. You have to be a logical thinker and very analytical. Yes, you have to, but this is also only a skill that you can learn. There are a couple of things that you can't learn, and this is curiosity, for example, and the willingness to embrace change and the willingness to adapt to challenges, for example. This is something you can't really learn. This has to be inside of you. So there's probably something like an entrepreneurial gene, or so I wouldn't, I'm not that sure about it, but other skills can be trained. And this is, for example, coding. Coding is of course very logical, but also a creative task. So it's not that far away from designing, drawing, sketching, thinking about strategies, building up companies, building up teams, for example.
Yeah, nice. Well, let me ask my final question. What advice do you have for young women innovators?
Don't start alone. Team up with people that are supportive. Team up with people with complementary skills. It's okay that you're not perfect in all these different fields, as long as you're curious and you're willing to learn and you have an idea that really brings something relevant to the table. Then team up with supportive people with complementary skills. That's my very strong advice. Second, ask for help. Really look out for mentors. There's people are surprising supportive when you ask them very frankly. So because we're all in the same boat and we know that the young generation is our future. Now I sound like an elderly woman, but it's there's a German saying like that means Fragen kostet nichts. You can always ask, it doesn't cost a thing. And I was very fortunate, and I would always be willing to give advice and support and open doors. So it's very difficult if you try to do everything on your own.
Yeah, so let's network.
Indeed.
Well, I think you have to catch a plane. Our time is already up. It was great to have this short talk with you, to get to know your mindset. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and your experience with the audience. Actually, I don't think that there were any questions, so I wish you a nice evening, a good flight. And we'll be back with the next interview in November on the Shemakes Voices channels. And for more information, I always wanted to do this. Yeah. You can check the website and you can see how to get involved as women innovators who are transforming the TNC industry. So wish you all a nice evening and you a good flight. Thank you so much and bye-bye.
Thank you. See you around. Thank you.